Yeah, so it was funny because like I was in there originally, then I got moved before I got a chance to speak. And there was like a lot of people in there, and then there was a lot of niggas in there that was trying to G check each other, and the women were trying to restore order in the live. But there was a part two, and that one went a lot more smoothly because they did like a little meeting after the first one to like kind of reset boundaries and shit like that. So the second one went a lot more smoothly. That one actually happened yesterday. So it was pretty good, but I guess the whole thing between alphas and simps is that first off, the word choice, like there's the alpha, he's supposed to represent this, hyper masculine figure, these people, they work hard, they play hard, they don't take no nonsense from their women. And, they provide the structure, you know what I'm saying? They're very structured individuals. As for, and the simps, like they're much more on the side of like respecting women and, I don't even really know how to put it in words, but like basically that. But the the spaces that happened, like I feel like a lot of it was just projection on, especially on the alpha side, because a lot of those alpha males, they was talking over people, they was trying to make points that didn't really make sense or didn't really have nothing to do with the topics in question. And one guy kept mentioning this podcast, which was cool, but like it only gets so far. Like you can only say it so many times before people start to get tired and shit. But I'm gonna be speaking more in regards of like the second part more than the first part, because the first part was a shit show. But with the second part, like you come to understand, like once things mellowed down, like these brothers, like they weren't even really all that. I will go as far as to say they wasn't really all that bad. It's just the first impression is very, very, very rough. You know what I'm saying? Because they're very, very, very secure in what they believe. So when you have other people trying to challenge that, or when you have a space where people are meeting each other for the first time, that shit is gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? But alphas and simps, I personally think that both those labels are kind of dumb, because everything is in a spectrum. Everything is in a what's it called? Like there's the alpha side, there's a simp side, and then you have people that are both or neither. So I feel like with that, there's like a spectrum. There's like a what's it called? Yeah, spectrum. Anyway, I feel like the alphas, the main thing about them that really throws a lot of people off is the fact that they just really, really, really don't understand what it means to like fall back, or like just to not be so intense all the time. And I feel like that was the biggest takeaway from that first time that we were hearing them speak, because they were like really projecting their masculinity, and it got to the point where the room was unbalanced, and the people that were trying to talk, especially some of the women that were coming in there to ask questions and shit like that, they were starting to get into it with the alpha males, because the alpha males, like again, they were projecting that shit. And it just goes to show that when you are in a position, or when you are someone that a lot of people like disagree with, or like a lot of people look at you and they want to challenge you and shit like that, you come to you kind of like in a fight or flight situation. And I feel like that's what really happened. So with the simps in the room, they didn't really do enough to like check the alphas and like check the room and shit like that, because again, they wanted to remain respectful and shit like that. But when you are in that type of space, people are watching you, especially like it was a space with exclusively black people. And when you have that, you have to conduct yourself in a manner where people can like be inspired, or like you lead by example when it comes to that. And I feel like they did a really bad job that first time, but that second time they did get it together, and the conversation was actually rather decent. Again, there was a lot of things that they were saying that a lot of people didn't agree with, but I feel like they got to the point of what they were trying to do, and that the alphas really showed themselves of how not to act if you claim to be a man, if you ask me. But That's how I felt.
Who's the black woman that was hosting it?
Oh, there's these two, Paris and Fallon.
Okay. First things first. Shout out to them because it wasn't even their fault that it was a shit show. Like and I'm gonna speak on what I view because I was there for like 6 hours, and I'm not gonna lie to you. If you were to sit there and try to learn something from this conversation from night one, you wouldn't. I would have told you you wouldn't have learned shit from there. Probably from night two, because I did listen to the second time they did, and Father was right. It was more of a controlled environment. Everybody, spoke with respect and all that other stuff. It was better. But that first night, oh my god, I'm not even going to lie to you. I was leaning towards the alpha male, even though, and I'm gonna say this. People don't use this term so much. People don't like. I don't even think the term you should dead the term. In my opinion, same thing with high value males. It's like I've been hearing it so much. Y'all should really dead the term because it seems like nobody really knows what an alpha male is, what a alpha, what a beta, what a simp is. Because there's some people that they call simping, and in my opinion, wasn't even simping. There was some things alpha did that, in my thing, it wasn't even like I wouldn't even call you an alpha if you did that. And for like I said, shout out to two black women because they had to check some of the dudes and they said themselves, I'm going to sit back and let y'all speak and let y'all control the space. And one dude was complaining about why we're doing it on this space, and then it was just like, and the dude said, because she has a bigger audience. That way I could reach to a bigger audience and all that other stuff. And that dude, and I think it was the dude that was trying to promote his podcast like 10 times. So like, even though it was like, I was like, that's what you're supposed to do. Someone with a bigger platform, you get the people from their platform over there to you. I feel like those people, especially some of the alphas, like they disappointed me, and I felt, and it was just, how can I say this? It's like if you wanted to be an alpha, or you would, if you want to be an alpha, or you thought what you had as an alpha, I would tell you not to listen to those dudes because I don't think none of them had a real good idea of what it was to be an alpha. And but I'm gonna ask y'all, what do you, what was your ideas about like alphas and temps? Anybody?
I guess I can go first. All right. So, you're right. Having a clarification of what an alpha and a simp is the first key to understanding the full spectrum of what's really going on in relationships when you have the alpha and the simp, right? So for me, I think an alpha is a person who is able to establish order in the relationship so that things can work out smoothly in collaboration or with a woman that also values herself, and they can work in collaboration with anything that they do. It's going to be more successful. And a simp, he's basically a person who doesn't really value himself, and he works for the woman that is less valuable, or is manipulative to run things. It's no, it's no collaboration. Things won't run smoothly. And
Just let the woman walk all over him, basically.
correct. And they don't even think that's the thing with Simps. They don't think they're being run over. They think they're actually controlling the situation. But in reality, it's the woman manipulating to make it seem like she's the victim. It's that victim mentality that runs the relationship. Anything that she chooses to do to better herself won't really happen. She'll talk about it a lot, but that shit ain't happening. I'm telling you that right now. And if you're a simp, you're going to think that the relationship is growing because of all the toxicity, but it's what you build with the person, not so much of the person saying, "Oh, I'm gonna do this," and they never do it. But when it comes to the simp, anything she wants, she gets. You get what I'm saying? Without having to work hard, without doing anything. The alpha male, he's going to put his foot down if she's not doing what she needs to do. And after a certain time, he's going to move on to the next woman that can actually add to him. That's what an alpha male, in my opinion, is. And a lot of people get it mixed up. They they replace ego and speaking with ego instead of wisdom. but they're speaking loud. They're walking around like they have attitude and all this drama attached to them, and they call themselves alpha male. No, you shouting, you demanding respect instead of just demanding it through your actions. Demanding it with your words don't mean shit. You're basically a beta, not an alpha. If people don't respect you based off your actions alone, and you have to shout over someone or get someone's attention, you just don't sit back and reserve if someone's yelling to be heard, then you know what it is. You're not an alpha, you're a beta. But that's all I really have to say about it.
Dion, you got anything to say?
Well, like Crystal said, I've always said that like the realest ones don't have to actually say it. You just see and feel that shit when when you're around them or whatever, when they walk in the room. But that's a big problem. The fact that the ones with either the least to say or with just nothing constructive to add to a situation seem to be the loudest. And it's something that I think a big reason why that alpha male versus simp thing basically didn't gain any traction for real at first, simply because those loud, non-constructive voices went unchecked for an extended amount of time. It's not nothing against the people running it. I wasn't there. I don't know who was or wasn't involved or whatever, but if you're not gonna challenge those toxic, entities or whatever, then yeah, it's just gonna be a mess all around.
But I will say this though, I think it was a good thing in retrospect because it exposed people and it showed exactly, like, it showed you who people are. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people show you who they are, believe them. And I feel like that space did a very, very good job at doing that.
That's a damn sure.
I do have a question for Fada. Did you how were you able to keep a level head dealing with people that, or a situation that you was expecting more out of? Because I was really looking forward to you coming on this podcast tonight and be like, okay, this is what they said and I didn't agree with this and yada yada, and you're always going to exchange. It's kind of sad that such a interesting, or I guess it's not even interesting, it's an over accelerated topic already, but I'm just kind of disappointed that we didn't get more information on people's opinions about such a topic that seems to be slightly taboo-ish. I don't know.
So yeah, I get you. So to answer your question, they did go through like a myriad of topics. Like they went through fatherhood, they went through relationships, they went through I think there was one portion about sex, and then there was another portion about body count and things like that. Like, they went into a lot of topics. And initially, after the first one, like, I was kind of like disappointed that we really didn't get like a good spaces, but at the same time, like, it did its job, and that's why I was able to keep a level head, because these people are showing themselves. These people are